Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Mrs. Stelz, is that correct?
Yeah.
Or Miss Stelz, I should say.
Miss Stelz. Miss Stelz.
And your first name's Amber.
Correct.
Okay. Is it okay if I call you Amber?
Yeah, Amber will be great. Actually.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for meeting me. I know that I'm new to you, and I'm a new case manager, but I've gotten a little familiar with your case, and I want to work with you, and we can talk today and get to know each other and get more comfortable with each other and go from there.
Okay, sounds good. I've been through a lot of case managers, so it's really frustrating.
Yeah.
So if I get all upset, it's not on you. I guess it's just from before, trying to get all that anger out.
Yeah.
Because 4 case managers in 4 months seems like a lot, and
that's really hard.
Yeah, it seems like a lot. So sorry if it comes out towards you. I don't think it's meant to be personal.
I totally get it. And today I just want to kind of build our relationship and just get to know you and kind of what makes you tick and everything, because it's really important, in working together, having a trusting relationship. So my goal today is to really just to get to know you as a person and learn about you.
Which seems really good, because I don't think any of my last case managers did that. They were, I'm here, this is what we're doing, here's my plan for you. And I didn't feel like I had a voice, and these are my kids, so I feel like I have some sort of voice in this situation.
And what I really want is to be able to have you come up with the goals for this, case, because I really want your children to come home to you. That's what I'm going to be working towards. And the way to do that is to really have you form those goals, so you can, attain them, you can reach them and be successful. So that's what we're going to do a little bit today. How was your drive over?
Pretty good. It wasn't too hard to find.
Okay.
Obviously a little nervous because I didn't meeting anybody's, a little nerve-wracking. But I've met so many people on this case, it's just I don't even know if I can keep a list of who I've met and who's important, who's not. So it's very frustrating.
I'm sorry. Well, I'm hoping that, we can work together from now until the very end of the case, and you won't have to see so many different people. That's my goal, is for us to kind of hang together and get through this together. So
that sounds great.
All right. That. So how's the weather out there today? Is it?
It's beautiful. I have to go grab lunch after this.
It was so cold like 2 weeks ago, and now it feels like summer.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear ya.
Yeah. So, are you comfortable right now? Is there anything that I can get you, like water or?
Actually, I'm learning that I'm developing allergies. So, is it rude if I ask for, do you have water, a bottle of water?
I do. I can go.
I'm not sick, so I don't want you to get,
Oh, no. I want you to be comfortable. So let me get that for you. All right.
Oh, thank you so much.
There you go. Sure, no problem. A couple of things, just formal things to get through before we can just start chatting is, one thing is that today we're probably going to meet roughly around 45 minutes. We have that kind of a time frame that we're going to be working with. And another thing is that I do have a duty to warn. And what that means is that if there's something that's really extreme, like you are telling me that you might hurt yourself, or that, you may harm somebody else, which I don't think would be the case, but something along those lines, I would have to tell, like, the, police or whoever it is, that maybe
need to be involved in the situation. I understand.
Yeah. And obviously, since it's child welfare and I'm an ongoing case manager, if there's any, like, evidence of child abuse or whatever, I always have to, tell people. So
does that go for foster kids? Since my kids are foster kids now, I mean, do you guys stay pretty up to date on, what's going on there? Because, you hear all these bad stories, and obviously they've been in for 4 months now, but I feel like my foster parents they're very easy to communicate with. Yeah. But I'm just, your kids aren't with you, so it's very scary. So I know. Is the same thing? It's really hard. Like, you guys.
Yes. We always, if there's, my job is to keep your kids safe. That's why we got involved, and that's my number one job, is to make sure that your children are safe. So in any environment, we make sure that, your kids are safe and okay. And even if you recognize something that you might feel like is unsafe, you can always call and tell me. And you also have the right to call 220-SAFE if you feel like your kids might be in danger. That's a right that you have. So, and I would look at that as being a strength of yours. The fact that you are able to, see what is safe and unsafe to your children and protect them, being their protector. Okay. So that's one thing. Another thing is what we're going to be talking about today is confidential. But that I do have some involvement. We have to go to court, for permanency plan reviews and all that kind of stuff. And I do have to report to them how the case has been going. So there will be certain situations where we'll be discussing a little bit of the case and how you're doing and everything. But other than that, people on the street, nobody's going to know your business. It's going to be between you and I primarily.
Can I ask what a permanency plan is? I've heard it before.
Yeah. I know. And you're only 6 months into the case. So your permanency plan is going to be coming up soon. And basically it's just giving the court an update on how you've been doing, how, if you've been able to reach your goals that you have, in place right now through the court, and talking about the children and your visits and all that kind of stuff.
And I get to go to these?
Yes. Okay. You have legal representation. You'll have somebody that will be there and, fight for you. So, okay. Yeah. So I guess, what I like to know first is a little bit, I don't like to read too much into a case because I really like to meet the person before I have any, opinions or whatever. I'd like to know the person before I read too much into a case. So I was wondering if you could kind of give me your account of, what led you to this point and the children being in out-of-home care, and kind of what happened the day that CPS got involved.
Well, I have 2 kids.
Okay.
Jake is my 4-year-old, and Madeline is my 2-year-old. They struggle with some things. They have, their own little delays, but otherwise they're pretty healthy children.
Yeah.
I'm a single parent.
Okay.
I got divorced a few years ago, so I'm trying to make it on my own. I'm trying to do what I have to do. It's been hard. I'm losing focus. It's hard keeping a job. It's hard, taking care of them. My family's few and far between. They don't want me to rely on them. They think, you decided you had these kids so you can make it on your own. They're there. It's like they're there, but they're not.
Yeah.
So, after hopping from place to place, we just, it's hard to keep up, and it's hard to keep them in a safe place and whatnot. I do have just a job as an answering service, but that can be, usually it's night shift.
Okay.
So it gets hard. I try to do day shifts. I try to switch things around. It's nice to be home with kids during the day, but then at night I don't always have a sitter for them. So one weekend I had a sitter, and apparently they left in the middle. I don't know what happened, but for some of the time over the weekend, kids were by themselves, and someone reported this. And it wasn't my intent, but I have to make money. My kids are very important. I just have to make money, and this babysitter wasn't reliable. And I know that's something I need to be in charge of, but I'm so limited on options. I feel like I have no resources, no one to go to. So it's just me and the kids.
So a lack of support.
It feels like it. It feels like a lack of support.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you really love your children a lot, and you were put in a hard situation because it's really hard to find childcare at night. And with children, generally going to daycare during the day, and most kids going to daycare during the day, it's harder to find places close by that will take care of your children. So I understand that difficulty. And what I'd like to do with you is kind of talk about what we can do in terms of how that would look in your day, setting up childcare with your job and working around your schedule and everything. So you feel more in control of the situation, I guess you could say.
And I feel like I have some people maybe we could talk about that I could reach out to, kind of dive into that. Maybe some possible numbers we could,
Okay.
call, or whatever resources. I know
Yeah.
you guys, I tend to get all these flyers and pamphlets, but no one ever talks to me about them, so I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I don't.
And is the dad involved? I know you said you're a single mom. Is the dad involved?
Not really.
No.
Really. He's not very reliable.
Okay.
So.
What about his family? Have they been there at all to
No.
support you?
No, they kind of taper it off.
That's hard.
I think every now and then his mom calls and sees how everything's going, but she doesn't have. She's older. She doesn't have her own means to help me out.
Okay.
She barely can get on her own.
Yeah.
So I don't want to ask her for help. There's
Yeah.
going to be no help there.
So who would you say you're closest to right now that lives in this city?
Who I'm closest to?
Yeah. Do you have, a friend that you would almost consider family or?
I have 2 close friends. One, her name is Sam. She's pretty up and down. She's got her own family and her own marriage problems. She is a good person to talk to, but she's not so reliable. We can go out and have, I don't have a lot of money, but we can go out and have lunch or, try to grab something. But she has a sporadic schedule.
Okay.
Her and her husband aren't the best, and then, like I said, she has a 2-year-old that she's trying to survive with. She's doing well, but it's one of those things, too, like, I don't want to rely completely on her. I don't think that would be the best for me.
But she can relate with you. You can relate with her. So it's nice having that support
kind
system.
of the vent. She's a good place, or a good friend to be like, oh, I've had a long day.
Yeah.
And she'll listen. She doesn't just judge me.
Okay. All right. Well, good. Is there anybody else that you feel like you could rely on during this time when we're going through all this? Because it's such a hard time. What you're going through is really hard. And, I want to make sure that you have a good support system in place during it.
I do have a pretty close friend. I haven't gotten her too involved because I'm kind of worried about what she's going to think.
Okay.
But I think she can tell I'm kind of being standoffish more or less lately.
Okay.
Her name's Sarah.
Okay.
She is recently married of 2 years. They don't have kids. She does teach. She's a teacher at a Jewish school. So, and her husband's a chef.
Oh,
so
wow.
They do okay. They're not anywhere, they're not very high class. That's why I think, we kind of get along. We're kind of, make about the same. And obviously with her husband, maybe a little more. And they support themselves pretty well. They take care of themselves. It's just I don't want her to judge me. I don't know if, one day we can talk to her. I think she has an idea of what's going on, but I really never opened up, and I've become more distant.
Okay.
But I've been friends with her for years.
Yeah.
Years and years.
Now, with your children, they always have friends and they make friends. Do you have any parents that you've become close with, like that would possibly be supportive, or are you just really not comfortable talking with anybody?
My family is pretty distant. They're very upset that this happened. Like I said, they can be there for me, but I wish they'd understand more. They're very upset with the guy I got involved with and the whole thing that went down with that. It was a lot of I told you so's. You shouldn't have done this.
Yeah. That's not something you want to hear.
No, it's not. And they love me and they've done what they can to support me. But our relationship could be better. It could be a lot better. And I want them to see that I want to try and I want to do this. I suffer out from my own problems even with the kids not around. So. Yeah.
So it looks like you've been, in child welfare, involved with child welfare for about 6 months now, and your kids have been, out of the home for 6 months, and I know that must be really hard. But can you tell me a little bit about what you've done in those 6 months with your previous case manager? Do you have any?
Excuse me. I have to be honest, personally, I don't feel like we've gotten anywhere. I know the notes probably say different. They probably had some anger problems, a mix of everything. I mean, after your kids get removed, you don't know what to think. I feel like it's an ongoing rush of emotions. I go to bed, they're not there. I wake up, they're not there. I work, that's all I think about. Yeah. I don't have a stable place to live. Okay. Kind of staying from here to there.
That's hard. To even have a routine when you don't have a stable place to live.
Yeah, when the kids were younger, we had we had some sort of stability for a little while, and I got used to that, and just to not have it anymore, it just throws everybody off.
Yes.
Schedules, everything like that. I do, like I said, have this job that I've secured for, they came in 6 months ago, so I've had it a little over 6 months.
Okay.
So
that's
probably
awesome.
like 8 months. It's not great. The pay is moderate, but it gets us by. It could get us by. So I feel like holding that has been good.
And that's, I would look at that as a complete strength, the fact that you were able to find a job, which is not easy, and the fact that you've been able to stay at that job and stay in that role is awesome, I think. That's a big step that you've taken. And I just think that's awesome that you've done that. The housing thing, we can talk a little later about kind of some ideas. We can figure out maybe possible places that would work for you, and that might be closer to your children and your job. So we can do that a little bit later on.
To comment on the job thing, and everybody's happy that I have this job, just gets so frustrating because I had this job, but because I have this job, I lost my kids. And I guess that's not completely because of the job. It's part of my responsibility to find a responsible person. And I just feel like it was so hard to do, and you don't have internet access all the time. I can't look up, certified babysitters or whatever this is, and with barely any money, how do you pay someone and no support? So it's just really frustrating that, I can keep this job. It's great. Yeah. But now I don't have my kids, so it feels like I have to forfeit one or the other. And, well, then how do I live? Like, where do you... What do you do in that situation? I guess that's what frustrated me at first.
Yeah, I totally get that because, it's like, when are you going to win at this point? And basically what I want to do with you is I want to create a plan for you, with you, to figure out how you can maintain this job and find, safe childcare for your children. I want you to look at me as a support. Okay. We can get through this together, but it does, it's going to take effort on your part and effort on my part, and I will work as hard as you work to get your children back, because that is my number one goal. The last thing I want to do is, take a child away from their mother or their father. So we will work on all those things. Those things can change, and it might feel like it's not possible at this point, but it is. We can do it together.
Well, and that's one of the things, like, it's been feeling so impossible. I don't think I've come, in the 6 months we've been here, I don't think I've come a long way. And then you probably read all that in my notes, and I haven't gotten anywhere, and I visit my kids, I do that, I bring what I can. Yeah. I don't feel like I'm struggling in that way, but, at night when you go home, I just get really upset and down, and, kick yourself, because what are you going to do? And the struggle every day is just really hard, and, I don't resort to medications or drugs or anything like that, but it just feels so draining. Yeah. And it's like I'm not even doing, other than working and visiting, I don't even have the kids, so it worries me that when I get the kids back, it's a whole new scenario. Can I keep up that lifestyle? Can I keep up what you guys want me to do? I don't understand how some people do it. So my mood is completely...
Do you feel like you would, it would be helpful to go and, like, talk to somebody, like a therapist?
I've known a lot of... I did counseling. I did counseling, relationship counseling.
You have?
Obviously, the expense, depending on my insurance. I understand that's a whole nother issue, which, maybe in the future you can work with me on some of that, or some handouts for where my insurance is accepted. I don't feel like I've had a lot of help with that. I know there's places, but I don't know where, and I don't, the hours and money. I don't know, it's just the therapist. I might, maybe if you have some good recommendations. I don't know. I don't want to give you a definite answer.
Well, why don't we just, look a little bit into it, and I can definitely bring some different, doctors and therapists that I've personally worked with, and I can give you a little information on them to see if it would be something that would be a good fit for you, and then maybe I could refer you to them, and you could maybe see them like once a week or once every 2 weeks, just to have a support system, because you don't it seems like you're really struggling with that, living in this new city and not having your family and, just having a couple friends right now. So to have that support system would be a really nice thing for you. Just somebody that you can just tell everything to. So let's think here. You told me a lot about your children and, what you've been struggling with and what's been really hard for you to reach your goals at this point. So I feel like what would be kind of nice is to talk a little bit about what kind of goals we can use to, get you
Plan for me
to get your children home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I'm doing everything right in the terms. I don't know. Like, I guess I need more feedback of what everybody else is saying. I have showed up late a few times. I know there's rules about showing up late. I do call. I do have a working phone.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'm necessarily. I mean, once the kids come back, maybe addressing some of those things that I have to do for them. I know Jake will start school soon.
Yeah.
I think they have them in like a pre-K or whatever you call that. The foster parents do, and that'll help. But as for me, I mean, the housing is the major issue. I have to find something stable, and I have maybe a budget to manage my money because it just seems to go. I don't necessarily have bad habits, but I'm like every other person. I want this, or I'm hungry for a donut. I just want to go out and get a coffee and just finding alternative ways to support what I'm doing or ways to cut back. I think a budget would be a good thing.
Yeah.
When it comes to my feelings, I don't know how the feelings go. You just mentioned the therapist that might help. I don't want to be medicated. I don't think it's gotten that far.
Okay.
It's just really, it is depressing.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be fearful about, we'll send you to a therapist or a psychologist, not somebody that's going to, prescribe you medication, but just really somebody to talk to that will be a support. One thing I forgot to talk about is your children, obviously. Why don't you tell me a little bit about each of them and kind of who they are?
Like I mentioned, Jake's 4. They want to diagnose him with, ADHD, whatever that stuff is. But I feel like he's too young.
Okay.
He's too young for that. I don't know what the foster parents have. I don't know if you can find out. I don't like to pry too much on their. I know they're taking care of him, but maybe I can get some more information from you.
Yeah.
I know they have doctor visits, but we're not on that connection level, so is that something that's a possibility that...
You have every right to be involved in their medical care. We actually want you to be involved in, their doctor's appointments, their school stuff. If, I know you said that he's going to be starting school, so, you mentioned earlier that he is delayed. Going and meeting with the teacher and other staff members to come up with a plan for him, to support him, all those things, like, we want the parent to be involved. So
would this be, I guess, the foster parents, like I said, are nice, but would this be uncomfortable for everybody? I'm nervous meeting them. I'm the one who didn't take care of my kids. Now they have them. I mean, I've seen them a few times, but we have never had a connection. So is that a possibility?
I think the foster parents could be a great support for you. And I would love for you to meet them because, if you have a good relationship with the foster parents, it's only going to make this whole, case more successful. You'll have the support from them and, they want what's best for your children. And, and I'll talk to them. If you feel like you haven't been involved with the foster parents and all of that, I will definitely talk to them and make sure that they will call you when there is a doctor's appointment or there's a meeting at school. And I think it would also be really great if you went and, met with the teacher one-on-one, just so you're really taking that control and, that's a strength that you want to be involved in all of that for your children.
So the teachers probably know that. Are the teachers required to know that the kids, isn't it? Like, do they know when they're in foster care, or does it just depend on the situation?
They will know that they are in foster care, but they're not going to tell anybody else. If they did tell that kind of business, it would be illegal. So it will all be kept quiet. But it'll be smart to have the teacher kind of know what's going on, so the teacher can better address your son's needs too.
I just don't want my son to be singled out because his mom couldn't take care of him, and I'm trying, so I don't want any of this to fall on him. I mean, they already have enough on their plate, not living with their mother, and their father's pretty much out of the picture. So to let anything more fall on them would be really heartbreaking for me. And just add to my stress, and I don't think I can handle that. Yeah,
we'll make sure that doesn't happen. We can talk to the teacher about the sensitive nature of this situation, and kind of what your son is struggling with, and how it's really important to keep this between you and the foster parents and the teacher.
I think that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Do they? I know they're for Madeline. This will get into talk in a minute. Do they schedule doctor's appointments? Do you want me to schedule that? Like, I don't know. I would. It's a big step.
Yeah.
So I can't drive them myself. So what do you do in those?
I think that as a parent, that you can schedule those appointments, those doctor's appointments, but keeping the foster parents in the loop, and if you're needing help with transportation or something like that for the children, they can help you with that. So we can definitely do that. Has Madeline had a birth to 3 assessment?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of. She might have. That might be something I don't know.
Now, you mentioned that she was just delayed. Could you give me a little bit more information on kind of what's going on there?
Well, Jake was just with a little hyperactivity kind of going on. Madeline, she walked a little later than normal.
Okay.
She was premature.
Okay.
Only by about a month, but that's still, an effect, right, from what I heard.
Definitely. Yeah.
I'm not too knowledgeable in all that. Sadly, I didn't have the time to get her into things. I didn't have the time to look into it. She seemed okay. She ate health, what she did at a normal time. It seems like to me. I'm not too familiar. I feel like I am a decent parent. I don't know. Classes, I don't really want to take people in the past have recommended parenting classes, but it is what it is. I just don't feel like I need them. Like, I think I can be a good parent, but if I'm not knowledgeable about these outside things, I know how to feed my kids. I know how to put them to bed. I know how to put clothes on them.
Okay.
I know all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, when it comes to the birth to 3, somebody threw it out there and said, here, go look into it, or, well, that doesn't do me any good. What am I going to go look into? Where do I start? What do I do?
Yeah. And, parenting classes are great for some people, but they're not a good fit for others. And it sounds like maybe what would be good is to have a parent aid. Not saying that you can't parent. You can parent. But to help you figure out, they can help you with budgeting. They can help you with figuring out, transportation with your children and daycare and all those types of things that you've been struggling with. They can help to support you and create a plan.
Now, is this parenting going to cost me, or is it for you guys? What does this look like?
The services will be provided through us, and, I want to make sure that you do, get along with a parent aide, that you feel like you can connect with them, because you're not going to be able to otherwise, get to where you need to be if you don't have those connections.
Okay. That sounds...
So it sounds like a parent aide could be helpful, and, they could also help with the whole housing thing too. They just kind of provide a whole wraparound approach. So you will have, support in anywhere that you need it at this point. And they'll get you to a place where you can feel like you can do this all on your own.
Okay,
but it's going to take work, again, from you. It's going to take equal effort. So
let me get this straight. So I work with someone in my visits. Actually, they don't really work with me. They're kind of just there. They're very nice people, so I don't have a problem with them. But they kind of see the same thing. Like, they help me when I get angry real fast. To approach things in different ways. So I think that's been good. It's frustrating on my part.
So a little coaching they're giving you? Okay.
I feel like it's frustrating because, I can parent, and then they think I'm very different parenting styles, but I can handle that. So that's their role. Just so I'm clarifying things. Your role is kind of to go over my case, meet every couple weeks?
I would like that. If that's something, I would like to meet with you on a weekly basis if that's possible. But I know that, people are busy. So I think once every 2 weeks sounds great. We can meet for maybe an hour, and every time we can just review your goals and figure out what's working and what's not working and modify it, depending.
And so that'd be your role.
Yeah.
And then a parent aide would be just kind of like a support, or like would help me get done what I need to get, like they keep me on track.
Yeah, definitely.
They report to you, or what usually?
They will. What we call it case noting. And all those records are kept confidential between the parties that are involved in your case, nobody outside of the case. Okay. So, your parent aide would spend some time with you. They would report back to me, letting me know, how you're doing and, what's been going really well, what's been, what you've been struggling with. And partly that's because I want to know what's working for you so I can help you. And if something's not working, let's just not waste our time on it,
Okay.
So they would be reporting back to me, but they would also, be in your corner, working with you, getting you to a point where, the children can return home.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. That all makes sense. It's a lot.
So there's me. There's the case manager, and I'm with you from the very beginning till the very end. I know that you've had previous case managers and how frustrating that is, but I feel like we've made a connection today and that we can do this together. And so I'm the case manager in the situation. And then there's the parent aide, which you seem like you totally understand.
Yeah.
Then there's the visitation workers who, work on your interactions one-on-one with your children, and just kind of report back to me of how you're doing with your interactions with your children, and if you've been going to the visits, if you've been coming on time, all that kind of stuff. Because the more I know about that, then if you're doing really well, I want to eventually extend the visits, make them more often, make them possibly partially unsupervised or fully unsupervised, because we want to slowly transition them to your home.
Okay.
So that's why it's important for me to talk to the visitation worker. And then any other people that might be involved, like your therapist, that would be really your choice on if you wanted to share that information with me. If you wanted to keep it confidential and just have that person be there for you, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
So,
when you talk about moving them into my home, like we talk about maybe looking for places and stuff, do you guys have requirements? Because I don't want to go look for, obviously I don't want a dumpy place, but I don't want to go look for a place, get it, and then know that, hey, well, this might not be good for the kid. Like, how do I know all that? Like, what?
Well, I would be happy if you find some place. I would be happy to meet you and do a walkthrough. I know that there's a lot of, icky landlords out there, and I would be happy to go with you and make sure that everything is, up to code and you're not going to be living in an unsafe place. So we can do that together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there, like, I have 2 kids, so do I need 3 bedrooms? Because there's 3 of us. Do I need just 2 bedrooms? Do I need to pull out, like, what kinds of stuff are you looking for? I know we can get into that in the future, but just on the back of my mind, I don't want to get a studio apartment for all of us. That seems like I should know that it's got to be bigger than that. Is that right?
Yeah, ideally you'd like to have a room for your children. But being a parent, you might be looking at the foster parents right now being like, whoa, they have really high standards of what the children should be living in and all that kind of stuff. But we don't look at it that way with parents. We look at, do you have a place? Can you maintain that place? Keep it, clean for your kids. Is there enough space? Do each of your children have a bed? That's really important, is the beds. And just, making sure that it's safe. That's basically it. But, the size and all that kind of stuff, we can work around that with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I guess that's something maybe in the future that we can kind of go
over. Definitely. Yeah.
You just have a lot of, wanting to do this and wanting to do that, and
I know,
trying to get it all done with. And I know I always hear it's such a lengthy process, and I don't want to be that, I can do this. I don't want to be that person.
And what I should tell you is that right now you're 6 months into the case. And by law, at about 15 months, I have to file with the court a termination of parental rights. That doesn't mean that's going to happen. I don't want you to worry about that because it sounds like you're really on board with our plan and, you know, getting your kids back. But it's something that I want you to know about that I don't really have any control over. It's just something that has to happen. So we are on a timeline, and we do need to work hard in these next, you know, 6 months or so to accomplish your goals and get your children reunified with you.
So does that mean at 15 months they stop visits? Like what? That
No.
kind of freaks me out. Like
No,
everyone
it's just
talks to me about this.
It's just the very beginning stages, and it's, you know, mainly court proceedings. Like you would be coming to a court hearing about the TPR, which is termination of parental rights, but you wouldn't be really going through the process. They wouldn't be terminating your rights at that time. So, but there is really no need for us to file that if you are making an effort with your getting your children back.
So say I just at 15 months I finally just got a place. I mean, I'm hoping to get one sooner than that.
Yeah.
Now that I have all this help.
Mm-hmm.
Say at 15 months I finally got a place and you approved it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So then that might not necessarily happen. Like if you see I'm moving forward, is that how you're explaining it?
Yes.
I just want to make sure
that, you know, seeing effort that you're accomplishing the goals that we created together. You know, that you're doing what you need to do to get your kids back. And I'm going to be very fair through this process. Because again, I'm on your side. I want you to get your kids back, but I do have to also protect them, make sure that they're safe. So, you know, the biggest thing is just showing me that you're working on it. Life is hard and it's not, you know, easy to accomplish all these goals at once. I know it takes time. So I don't want you to worry about that. But you know, as long as I see that you're working and really making an effort to see your children and being involved in their lives, then we'll be good.
Okay. Okay, I think that goes over anything. Sorry I go off on tangents and we get wrapped up.
Yeah.
There's so much on my mind. I just,
I know.
Trying to think about going into work tonight, making sure I get there. You know,
I
it's
know.
just a lot.
I know. Well, what would you feel comfortable like moving forward? Do you want to plan something right now for a couple weeks out? And in the meantime, I can start making some referrals and figuring out people that somebody that you can go and see and talk to, and somebody that you can, that'll help you with like the parenting, the parent aid. I can work on those things.
And for goals, I think.
Then we can meet back together.
Oh, yeah, meet back together.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, do you take a while to do that? I mean, I think 2 weeks. I mean, I can look over my schedule and call you to make sure, but maybe in 2 weeks from today, Mondays seem to be good days.
Okay.
To do stuff like that.
Okay.
It's a fresh start of the
that's a
week
good day for me too.
So we could do Mondays. If for some reason it changes, I'll call. I have your number.
Okay, and I'll make sure to bring that information with me and, you know, just keep me up to date on how everything's going with work and how your visits are going. One thing I ask is that you do continue to go to the visits because that's one of the most important parts of this process is you continuing that connection with your children and showing up for them. And you did mention earlier that you want to be involved with their school and all of that. So, you know, if, you know, knowing that your son's going to be starting soon, giving the school a call and just making that connection with the teacher, and then we can just talk about everything in a couple weeks.
And you said you could give me that information too? Like, I just feel intrusive calling them.
The information? That's enough. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, I'm going to talk to the foster parents. The foster parents do have like a right on, you know, what they want their involvement to be with the parent. Okay. But, you know, it seems like you're a really great person, and knowing them, they will definitely want to make that connection with you. So I can call them, talk to them, and then, you know, report back to you and let you know, how they're feeling about it. And then, you know, I can give you their phone number and you guys can start, you know, phone contact and then move from there.
Yeah, I think I got it.
Okay.
One of the paperwork from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
maybe, you know, I could also have them call you too. if that would make you feel more comfortable, because I know that's a hard first step. So, well, it was really great meeting you, and I'm really, looking forward to working with you for over the next year. It seems like you really have a lot of strengths, that you are keeping this job. Your children are your priority. And it just sounds like there's just a few things that you need support with at this point. You just need a good support system, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to work on that for you.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Well, sounds good. Then 2 weeks you said from today, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks. Monday at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, Monday's 3 o'clock.
Okay, well, it was really great meeting you, and I look forward to seeing you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, bye.